right, it's 2025, and I have some TV that I've watched the last couple months. I may not have watched a whole lot of movies, but I have been watching TV. And instead of doing individual reviews for all these shows, I thought I'll do a little kind of catch up, or a rapid fire of 4 TV shows that I recently watched, and I'll do little quick reviews for them. I may end up doing this for all my TV from here on out, just because my TV reviews don't get a whole lot of views, and a lot of times I don't have a ton to say unless it's something that I'm passionate about. So I don't know, we'll see. Let's see how you like this style of TV review, and let me know if it's something you want me to keep doing. I will start off with my most recent show that I just finished a couple days ago, and that was Silo Season 2. This is the Apple TV show about a bunch of people living underground in silos. Think kind of like a Fallout type show. I like to say it's like Fallout, but a little more serious. It doesn't really have a whole lot of comedy to it. It's post-apocalyptic. There's a lot of mystery elements. It does remind me of Lost in the fact that it answers questions but then asks us more questions type situation. I really loved the first season. I thought it was a great show. And this season, it's pretty much perfection. I don't have really a negative. There's some like nitpicky things we can get into, but it picks off right where season 1 left off. You're following Rebecca Ferguson's character to another silo, and then you're also following the politics and the impending revolution that's going on in the silo from the first movie. This show has really got, everything. It hits all the marks for me. It's got a great cast. Rebecca Ferguson is fantastic in this show. Even people they bring in, new people are great. It's got really cool sci-fi elements, mystery elements. It's got great special effects, great music. The score is really good, and it just has that cool post-apocalyptic sci-fi thing that I'm into. If you were into kind of that stuff like that, I highly recommend Silo. Like I said, it's pretty much perfection for me. But if I was gonna nitpick it, there's a couple times that are a little bit unbelievable. Scenes like there's a lot of underwater stuff in this. I don't say a lot, but there's some underwater stuff. Well, these people don't know how to swim, and they come out and say, I don't know how to swim, but then they somehow learn how to swim, teach themselves to swim in 5 seconds. There's also this whole thing about pressure that happens where it's kind of okay, it just starts to become a little unbelievable at times. And then the other thing would be you find these people that are basically starving to death, and I don't know what they've been eating. It's hard to tell. At first I thought maybe they were cannibals, but they don't really go into that, and I don't know. It's very weird, that part. There's just little things like that where it's okay. And like I said, I guess if you don't like the Lost style of ask 3 more questions or answer a question, then ask 3 more while you're answering that question, then you may not like this. But for me, I think it doesn't handle it quite the same as Lost did, and you do get resolutions to things. And I don't know, I just really entertained, and I will recommend this. This would definitely have made my top 10 last year, way up there. It would have been probably in the top 5 for sure. So Silo is perfection. I would have probably given it a 4.5, 5. I don't really rate TV, but if I was going to, it definitely deserves 4.5, 5 star. Next up, let's talk about the next show that I just finished, which was Star Wars: The Skeleton Crew. I am passionate about Star Wars. You've probably seen some of my many Star Wars rants on TV shows and movies, and so it's kind of weird that I'm only going to do this little quick review for this show, but honestly, it's better than Acolyte. I enjoyed it. There were a lot of things I really enjoyed. We are back on the upward swing. There are still some things in it that bugged me. It's not a perfect show. To me, it's not up there with an Andor or Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. It's not up there with those, but it was interesting. The things I liked for sure, I liked Jude Law. I thought he was a really cool villainous kind of character. I liked the pirate theme. I always like kind of a space pirate kind of show. I love Outlaw Star and Cowboy Bebop. And Serenity, Firefly. So this kind of has those feels to it. And then it also has the Steven Spielberg-esque 80s Stranger Things kind of feel to it with the kids and everything. Does it go a little, is it a little on the nose at times? Does it feel like it's directly trying to rip off Stephen King? Or not Stephen King, did I say Stephen King earlier? Steven Spielberg is what I meant. Yes, it does. It does feel like that sometimes. And the kid actors, while they're not the greatest, they are a million times better than the kid actors in Acolyte. And they were growing on me. And I could totally see more seasons of this if they make more seasons. Maybe getting into it even more. And as the kids grow up, you know, really connecting with the kids. It's hard to with just the few episodes that we got here. But I enjoyed them. I like Neil. I like the kid characters. Now, was there cheesy dialogue and really corny moments at times? One thing that sticks out in my head immediately is like there's this forced conflict that comes out of nowhere between the two girls in one episode, and it's literally, you almost could see the dotted lines of why they had this conflict. It was just so we could split them up so that later on at the end of the episode we could put them back together. It was very dumb. And like I said, there's some cheesy dialogue. There's some kids that are doing parkour randomly. It's goofy at times. And I would say with Jude Law's character, while I enjoyed him and I liked him, it almost feels like they didn't 100% know what to do with him. Like at times they're like, oh, he's definitely a villain. But then at times you're like, okay, maybe he's not. So I don't know with him, and I'm sure if we ever get a season 2 of this, maybe we'll get some more answers to it. But in the finale, the special effects were incredible. But once again, it just felt a little rushed at the end too. So I have my nitpicks, of course. I nitpick everything Star Wars. But like I said, I enjoyed it. It's a huge improvement over Acolyte. Acolyte was the floor. Thank goodness we are going back up the correct direction. I am afraid, though, that Disney has watered down their Star Wars and Marvel with so much crap that, because I've heard that Skeleton Crew doesn't really have the best ratings. So I just feel like Disney's probably gonna call it quits on TV shows, but who knows? We'll see. And like I said, it could have been much worse. So if I was gonna give it a rating, I'd give it like a 3.5 star. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Next up was another Apple TV show, Shrinking Season 2. This was another show where I didn't get to watch it in time before the top 10 of 2024. I also think it had like 1 or 2 episodes outside of or in 2025, so I don't know if that technically even counts. But I loved the first season, and this season is just as good as the first season. I just think Apple is on a roll, and they have a great combination of character, story, heart, and this cast. I mean, the cast is such a plus for me. Everybody is great in it. But Harrison Ford, Jason Segel, they really stick out. They've got great chemistry. It's just really good. And, you know, we're not going to get to see too much more Harrison Ford. He's getting old. And I don't like to be that way, but I also just am like, there's not too many things that Harrison Ford's in that I don't like. And even, like, his kind of grumpy man attitude works great. It's very Ted Lasso, but a little darker and more focused on, instead of soccer, we're talking about psychiatrists. And I just love the Jason Segel father-daughter drama and stuff. The show connects to me on a weird level. I get emotional watching it, and I just love it. And as many more seasons as we get, I'm gonna love it. I don't feel like we're getting too many more, but it's just a great show. This is another show that I would give, I mean, honestly, probably a 5 out of 5, and would have made my top 10 in 2024 had I got around to watching it before we did that list. As a matter of fact, I think I went back on my list and added it in there, even though, you know, no one's ever going to see it. But Perfection, really, really good. Another Apple TV show that I recommend. You got to watch this. Ted Lasso, Silo, all great shows. And then finally, this one is the one I watched like back in November, which was Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2. I really enjoyed the first season. It did start off really slow, which I think hurt it with a lot of people. People, I think, got off of it because it started so slow. And while I think this season is paced out better, and it does a better job of balancing out some of the characters, because for me, there's just some characters I don't care about. Even we're going into Harefoots or the Hobbits' characters, I don't care about them. I don't like them, and that is probably my negative of the show, is I just don't like those certain side quests or certain side characters of the show. I just don't care about anything that's going on with them. But like I said, this season it was balanced out better. We got to see the turn of I can't remember anybody's names, but the Elven City guy, Smith. That was really cool. And we don't get a whole lot of fantasy shows. So I like to point out two things when people, because there are some people that I know that really dog on this show. And I'm like, one, we don't get a whole lot of fantasy shows. And two, it is top. You can tell Amazon has spent some money on this show. The special effects are great. The music, the action, the storylines. There's some really cool storylines and stuff going on in here. Is it perfect? No. But, we could be Star Wars Marvel. We could be churning out garbage. At least we get well-made, competent TV here. And I really enjoyed it. Is it perfect for me yet? No. This is something that I'm like, dying to go see, like I am with something like House of the Dragon. Not quite there for me yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and I'm looking forward to the next season and seeing what they do. I enjoyed it. I'd probably give it like a 3.5, 4 out of 5 for me on War of the Rings. I don't know if that would have been good enough to make it in my top 10. It may have actually been in my top 10. I can't even remember. This show may have actually made the cut because I may have finished it before I did my top 10. So yeah, those are the last 4 shows I watched. It's kind of my cap off to 2024 TV, because now I can watch some 2025 TV, even though one of the shows I'm watching right now is still a 2024 show. But some new 2025 TV is going to be coming out, and let me know what you thought about these rapid fire reviews. I know this is going to be like under 15 minutes, which is kind of my goal. And this may how I do TV. I'm not going to do my movies like this, but this may be how I do my TVs from here on out. And not necessarily in the car either. I'm just driving to the movies, and I had time to talk about some TV on the way there. So anyways, until next time, this is Rainy Cage, and peace out.